Hi guys, it's back again now with another video. I haven't put one up in a while. This is of a 2008 Toyota avensis with an ABS wheel speed sensor fault. This is the sensor now, the part number that has been replaced. It is on the driver's side. I just picked this up from the motor factories today and they had the left hand side in stock early this morning, but the left and right don't share the same part number, so they had to order this one in. Got it in later this evening. Hardest part about this job was actually removing the cover in under the wheel arch to actually get to, see if I can show it there, the top of the plug here. Now this is the new sensor in place. Just going to show you the position of it. So there is the first 10mm bolt to take out. In here you can just see there's the next bolt, that's like a 12mm. Now keep in mind this particular bolt here is holding the bracket for the brake hose as well, and the brake hose sits in front of the ABS sensor bracket. From there, follow it back up around, stays in front of the suspension assembly, comes down then, and it's going to get an extra light now so you can see the sensor. 2 seconds now guys, let me try get in there so you can see, hopefully focus. And that there is the head of the sensor itself, and that is the particular bolt for this. Now guys, the bolt head for this one is a size 8. Don't assume that yours is going to be size 8, because that is actually a tech screw that someone has used in place. I got this car recently and there has been a few little jobs that a couple of nuts and bolts are not what they should be, so all I can tell you is in years that is most likely a 10, in years that is most likely a 12 as well. This one that is down inside there on the head of the ABS sensor itself, I don't know the original size, because on the passenger side of this car as well it is different, and that's not a tech screw. Now where did I throw that old sensor? Right, so that is the old sensor out of it. I'm 100% certain the sensor is faulty. The only indication the car would give to an ABS fault is when you turn the key and you're waiting. Now this is a diesel avensis, so when you're waiting for the heater plug light to go out, once you have the car started, the ABS light would stay on for the very most up to 5 seconds after the engine has started, which would tell you there is a bit of a fault, but it doesn't tell you anywhere where the system is. While you're driving the car, there'd be no ABS lights on then from that point on. But with this particular scan tool, if I can get the light right in it there, it is the Foxwell N30 630 Plus. Sorry, NT 630 Plus. If I can show you there with the light, without the light there, it is ABS and airbag. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the print of the label here. So that's the rest of the information on the back of that reset tool. Now that also does a OBD codes as well. It, for some cars it does the SA SAS reset. I'm going to put up a part 2 to this video because it did read up the fault straight away under the ABS, but on a live graph test, what I got to do is you can actually set which wheels you want to show the wheel speed of. So for me at the moment, I've done this while it's in the shed. Don't know if you can see down, the lights aren't great at the moment, but the car is up on stands all around. So I didn't test the wheel speed sensors at the back because the wheels aren't on the ground. Only the front wheels will be turning for this test. You'll see on the live graph I had the left wheel speed up to 16 kilometers while the right wheel speed sensor was as low as 5 and 6 kilometers. I won't say much more about that, guys, but it will be on the second video. It's a very short video. It's only, I think, is it 18 seconds, something small in here, but we're just going to go back down to this part here. I don't want anyone to be alarmed as to all the ripping that has been done here. You don't have to take off the brake caliper, the brake pads. None of that actually has to come off to do this job. In the process of me working on this, you see I'm missing a wheel stud, so that's sheared off. I got it out. I got the old one out easy. I got replacements for that as well today, which is in the clutter of parts and stuff on the ground here. That there is a new wheel stud, which is the wrong size because they are tapered on splines. Of course the battery light is going weak at the moment, but they're tapered on splines. Now this is the wrong size. I'm going to slightly tap it. Going low on battery here quite fast now. So I just slightly tapped it in there, and you see that's not staying in there tight at all. So that's for another video. We're not going to worry about that at the moment. But don't be alarmed as to the brake disc, brake calipers being off. None of that has to come off to do an ABS sensor. It's just I have other work to do on this car. All you have to take off to do this job, most importantly, is the wheel. Then the big arch cover that goes up all inside here. It's very hard to get up to that particular clip. That clip is hard to pull down out of it. If you know yours is faulty, pull it out. It has to come out anyway. Don't be alarmed to the damage that you do to the clip itself, because the clip is part of, the light isn't great here now because the battery died in the other one, but the clip is part of the old ABS sensor. So that is a brand new clip on the new wiring connector. So there's no worries to the damage that was done to the old one. There's no effect to it there. But that is the pattern that's down in along it. I went with the brand APEC because that's what was ordered in. APEC, I've never had any issues with their brakes or anything like that, so quite happy to use it. All I can tell you guys is for the price, I paid €65 for it. The motor factors I got it from or anything like that doesn't matter. These aren't paid promotion videos. The ABS sensor hasn't been sponsored, the scan tool hasn't been sponsored, so we're not going to go into much information about them as such. Only if there is more information you want to know that I can give, no problem. I'll try answer whichever questions that ever comes to it. Any tools that's being used in the job, if you want to ask any questions on that too, that's fine, it's no problem. The light I was just using there was that King Tony cob light. I've done a video of that before. I suppose that light now is a year older, or probably more maybe, and the light that the battery died on is the one that's down there, is the cob light. There was a video done on that as well, still in use probably a year and a half, 2 years later, still working perfect, except the battery runtime has never been great on it. But anyway, so that is that video, guys. A bit of unnecessary ranting about other parts of it, but that is the ABS sensor sorted on this car. Look, it's a new sensor. Of course it's going to fix the fault. You will see with the scanner that it comes up as FR wheel speed and FL wheel speed. You will see on them the two clearances that's there. That scan tool is doing live graph, so with that I could clearly see how far out one sensor was reading to the other one. Of course, to do this job, just because you're getting a faulty sensor, you can't assume it is just the sensor. For this particular job, the sensor is trying to read a reluctor wheel or a tone ring, whichever you want to call it. I generally like to call it a tone ring. So it's trying to read the tone ring. If the tone ring is damaged, if there is a build-up of corrosion, if it's cracked, if anything like that, damage to the tone ring, the sensor can't do its job. But the sensor will read up to be faulty. Don't just assume straight away that you can go away and buy a new sensor and the problem is fixed. If you want to look a little bit closer into it, check the tone ring. Remove the sensor out from, in my one, which is held in with a tech screw. Remove that out of the way, turn the hub around, look down into the hole with the light, see if it looks like there's obvious damage, obvious cracks, anything like that. The one thing definitely not to overlook, if you have play in the wheel bearing, the play in the wheel bearing will cause havoc on the sensor trying to do its job, because the excess play, it'll cause too much of a gap between the pin on the sensor reaching the tone ring. Now I can't show you that because I have obviously set up now, but the pin, if I can just get that focused, that is the pin on the top of the ABS sensor. That pin, which is a kind of like flat rectangle, is trying to read a tone ring which is just on the end of the drive shaft, or CV axle if you wish. Try to get a bit of better light there. I'm not sure if you can see the tone ring. No, you can't really see the tone ring on this, but anyway, just to make sure there's no play in the bearing, catch on to the hub, rock it forward and back. Now ideally you'll be doing this with the wheel in place, that you can rock the whole wheel. Now I know there's no play in this because I have checked. There is no problem with the bearing in this, but it's just something to keep in mind if you are getting an ABS sensor fault. A few things to check. First would be that you remove, as I said, you take the ABS sensor out, which is just mounted back down the side there. Take that particular bolt out, pull the sensor up, catch on to the hub here, and just turn it around while you're slowly looking down the hole where that is, and you're going to get to see all the tone ring gaps. See if there's any damage, any severely corroded anything. If they are corroded, like with rust, try clean them up. But if you have play here in the bearing, that's what I would be changing first, because it has to be changed anyway. But fix that, then check, do you still have an ABS fault, before you go away and spend €65 on a sensor, or whatever price you have to pay for it yourselves. You most likely will get them cheaper online. 65 is, it is quite a lot, to be fair now, for that sensor, but I wasn't willing to stay shopping around for a cheaper price. But that's that part of the job done. I will put up part 2. It's going to show the live graph of the particular fault as it's been sitting here. You see it's up and stands. You see the 2 wheels are off there. Same on the other side of the cart, is jacked up all round. I am going changing the master cylinder in this car as well. It's a little bit, the pedal is a little bit spongy, so I'm going to change that as well. But that's today's video anyway, guys. Any comments, any questions, send them in and I will try and answer them for you.